Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. So it's Wednesday, although you probably won't see this video till tomorrow, Thursday, or whenever you watch it, but I probably won't post it till Thursday. Um, so we're doing you guys will have already seen it for Wednesday night dinner, because that'll be the video out before this one. Um, and I hope you tried it because we had done a chicken tater tot casserole in a cast iron. But today, remember I talked a couple videos back about how my friend Josh help my daughter out in a pinch and went and jumped her car, since they only live like a mile and a half apart and we live in different city than our daughter does. That way she'd get to work and start a new job. Yay! But today I want to make pumpkin pie. Now I'm using the same pie crust that we used with the apple pie that I made. So that way I can keep practicing my pie crust. Plus, I just like pie. Pie and cookies. Those are like my favorite. Cake's not bad either. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a cheesecake bars. And I may tape it. I probably will. Just so you guys can see it too. It's a brand new recipe. I've never done that one before. But this pumpkin pie is it's from scratch. It's not store-bought pumpkin pie filling in a can. It is completely from scratch. Show it to you. There's all our ingredients. I'm actually making two pies, one for us and one for Josh. So I got all the ingredients out for everything we need. Making a pie from scratch is actually really simple. The only thing that would vary going forward from what I'm doing now is the pumpkin that I'm using here. I actually can this pumpkin, but you can buy pumpkin puree at the grocery store. It's usually in the baking aisle, but so you can buy that. That would be the only substitute. But we had bought pumpkins to carve and for decoration for fall, tail end of last year, well, for Halloween and Thanksgiving. And after Halloween was over, the pumpkins that the kids didn't carve, we cut into little cubes, and threw them in water and then canned them. It's not hard to do. I would show you guys how to do it, but pumpkins aren't in season, so I can't can any more pumpkins. But that's how you would do it. But anyhow, the ingredients list, I mean, it's so simple. It's for a pumpkin pie, it's 2 cups of pumpkin puree, 2 eggs, right there. Don't know if you can see them, but 3/4 cup of sugar. Underneath right here, I got that. Now, it's split. It's 1/4 white sugar, 1/4 cup white sugar, 1/2 cup brown sugar. You can use dark brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar. The original recipe calls for dark brown sugar. I just was too lazy to go downstairs and get some. So, like the last time, I'm using light brown sugar. Then it also calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Right there, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice, which is right there. We make our own pumpkin spice, but you can use store-bought pumpkin spice. Put in whatever you want. But I like mine to have a little more cardamom than the store-bought ones do, and we found a really great recipe. The last thing that we're going to need is a can of evaporated milk. Any evaporated milk of your choice. All right, well, let me get my camera reset up, and we'll start making it. All right, guys. So, got the camera adjusted. Now we're ready to rock and roll. I'm going to do all this in the food processor, which is awesome. If you don't have a food processor, you can use a mixer and a bowl. I mean, really. Okay, so this first step is for if you basically don't use already pureed pumpkin. This isn't pureed completely. It's still chunky. I don't know if you can see that. If you are using your own canned pumpkin, per se, make sure you drain all the water off of it first. There's going to be a lot of moisture in it. This recipe is a little runnier than like if you buy your store-bought puree. It's a little lighter. It'll depend on your pumpkin. But it won't have that. I just bought it from the frozen food department darkness to it. But but I'm here to tell you, it is 1,000 times better than any store-bought pie. And like I said, it's not hard at all. I'm gonna show you how to make one pie. I got the crust made already, and then I'll make the other pie off camera, and then we'll talk about the oven. So anyhow, 2 cups of pumpkin, just like I said. Put the lid on it, and sorry if this gets a little loud. And you're just gonna, like I said, if you don't buy the canned puree, you're just gonna puree. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to keep pureeing as we go. So if it's not like the smoothest pumpkin you've ever done in your entire life, it's okay. It's okay. Remember, we're having fun and we're playing, so it's okay if we screw it up a little bit or whatever. But anyhow, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be baby food smooth. All right, so the next thing we're going to put in here is our eggs. All right, and then we're going to puree that a little bit. I'm telling you, this is the easiest recipe in the entire world. Put that in, puree. And then after that, we're just going to dump all our other ingredients in. So we're going to dump the salt in. We're going to dump our pumpkin spice in. And then we're going to dump our sugars in. Now, if you find your brown sugar is getting a little clumpy, got a couple recommendations. You may already know this, but if you don't, it's something you can utilize. There's 1 or 2 ways to handle brown sugar, because like it will clump up and get hard on you. So let me show you this real quick while I'm thinking about it. First, you want to keep it in a container. Don't ever leave it in the bag. Well, you can leave it in the bag, but put it in a container. Something that's relatively airtight. Now, when you put your brown sugar in the container, you have a couple different options. For the longest time, I just kept the top of a hamburger bun in there, and what the hamburger bun does is draws up moisture and keeps the moisture out of your brown sugar, and that way it doesn't clump up. It stays nice and, pliable. Because I don't know if you've ever messed with brown sugar, but that stuff gets hard as a rock. Sorry, I'm almost out of brown sugar. Well, I have more in the basement. I just got to get it. But last year, Chris got me these little discs, and they're terracotta discs. They're actually made for tobacco, but they work very well on brown sugar, and they're terracotta, so they're food inert. People have been putting food with terracotta pots and terracotta stuff since before the Egyptian times. So that's a couple thoughts on how you can keep your brown sugar from turning into one giant rock. Is like that there. Okay, so we got all our ingredients in here. I'm gonna hit the sides up real quick here. Just like baking anything else, use a scale. When I measured out all my stuff, I used my scale. And you don't need an expensive scale. Scales are like, unless you are baking on an industrial level every day, 50 pies a day, 100 dozen cookies a day, a $12 scale will do you just fine. It gives you consistency and accuracy. That way it doesn't matter how many times you make your cookies or pies or cakes, they're going to taste the same. And you're going to have the right balance of ingredients. Okay, so got that in there. We're going to mix this up real quick. And turn it off. All right, I guess I don't have to say puree. I could just say mix it up or process it. In your food processor, which is what you want to do. So, and that's really all there is to it. Give me 1 second here to wipe down the sides, and I will do my best to show you what it looks like. Oh, wait, that's not all. I did forget something. So, put your lid back on, turn your mixer back on, and while it's mixing, you're going to want to pour your evaporated milk in there and let it mix for a little bit. I thought it looked a little dark. Oh, remember how I was talking about the canner popper the other day to pop the lids off? This end here, this is what it used to be used for. See those holes? It pops hole. It's, if you don't, this is kind of a can opener. If you don't have a, out in the woods, you don't want to take, you could take a can opener with you, but that works just as well to get cans open. All right, so turn your mixer on. I'm gonna put it on low, and then as this is spinning, I'm gonna dump this evaporated milk in there. All right, now it is done. Put that right there. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like pumpkin pie. So there is our, oh, let me move the camera down. There is our pumpkin pie mix. And like I said, it's lighter than a store-bought pumpkin pie, but it tastes 1,000 times better. Now, what you want to do before you go dump it in your pie crust and put it in the oven, grab you a spoon, spoon, and you want to taste it for spice. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, you may want to add, you may need to add just a hair more sugar, or you may want some more pumpkin spice in it, or you may want some more cardamom or nutmeg or whatever it is that you prefer to put in your pie recipe. I mean, I know most people have their own pumpkin pie recipe, but this is the one I use. It's so good I had to take a second bite. All right, so we try it. Next thing we're going to do is put it in the pie crust. All right, pie crust. Oh, and by the way, check that out. I got a new Pyrex pie plate, which is really awesome. Found it at the secondhand store or the thrift store, whatever you like to call it, Goodwill, Salvation Army, whatever's in your neck of the woods. And it cost me like $2. I was so happy. You can never have too many pie plates, I guess. So you want to fill it all the way up to about the edge. Now, I have learned from pumpkin pie experience with this recipe, it will fill a Pyrex pie pan, like a glass one or a good metal one. But like the pumpkin or the apple pies that I made, or that we made because we made it together, or the other pumpkin pie I'm going to do up, it doesn't take quite the whole amount. They're a little smaller pan, not much smaller, but a little smaller, so it doesn't take quite as much. But that's what you want to see right there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make up the other pie real quick, the other inside of the pie. And then when I come back, we'll talk about oven, temperature, all that good stuff. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. All right, guys, so I got the other pie mix. We got 2 pies. Next thing we're going to do is... we're going to talk about the oven real quick. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bake these at 2 different temperatures. Is what it comes down to. Hold on, let me bring you up a little bit so I feel like I'm talking to you eye to eye. So what we're going to do is we're going to bake these at 2 different temperatures. We're going to start at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I have no clue what that is Celsius, but I know it's 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm sure there was a time, it's like 2 and change, I believe. 2 and change Celsius. But we're going to cook it that way for about 15-20 minutes, and then we're going to take it down to 350 degrees and go about 30 minutes. Now, that's going to vary a little bit. I mean, like I said when we bake those pies, your oven will probably heat it more. It most likely heats different than mine does. Nobody's oven seems to be the same. It's kind of like when you buy a car. You may buy the same make and model as your best friend, and his may run for 1,000,000 miles. Yours may run for 1,000 miles, and then the motor blows or something. So they really vary. But I know with mine, 400 degrees, 15 minutes, then drop the temperature down to 350, and you go for 30 minutes ish. You'll know when they're done. Definitely 400 degrees for 15 minutes. And then take it down to 350 and start checking it at about 25 minutes. If you stick a knife in the center of it and it comes out clean, it's done. If it's still liquid, it's not done. But you should be able to stick a knife in it or even a toothpick in the center and it should come out clean. I use a knife myself, but either one works. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven. In reality, so if you're starting this from scratch, quick side note, and you're making your dough from scratch, you put it in the fridge like we discussed when we made dough a couple videos back with the apple pies. You set it in there for an hour. You bring it out, you roll it. As soon as you're done rolling it, before you make your pumpkin custard, turn your oven on, 400 degrees. And in case you're wondering what's in this pot, chicken broth, making chicken broth again. Best stuff in the entire world. But anyhow, go ahead and turn your oven on and get it warming up. So that way by the time you're done getting all your ingredients together, then getting them mixed, getting them in the pie crust, it'll be at 400 degrees and you can roll. All right, well, I'm going to get these in the oven and I'll see you in like a half a second, which will be when these pies come out of the oven. All right, hold on, be right back. So real quick, before I forget, there were a couple things I should have told you before I put them in the oven. First thing was, always put your pies on pans underneath them. That way if there's any spillover, bubble over, goes onto the pan, just like with the apple pie. The other thing was, if you notice, I had both pies on one pan. Make sure you put some separation between them. That way the air circulates in between them and you get even baking. If you get them too close together, you can run into uneven baking. And if you don't have a pan big enough to put them both together, bake them one at a time. All you have to do is stick one in the fridge. That was part of it. The other thing was your times not only will vary on your oven, but what kind of pie pan you use. Both those are considered 9-inch pie pans. Now, one's like 8 point something of an inch. It's not quite 9-inch. The glass Pyrex pan I just got is a 9-inch. So that can make it vary a little bit also. The color of your pan can also make it vary. Darker pans have a tendency to bake things quicker than lighter colored pans. Glass pans bake differently than metal pans. So there's a lot of variables to look for. When I go to check these, if the Pyrex one is done first, I'll pull it out a little early, and then I'll know, and then I'll write it down in my book. So my notebook, which is right here, this is like my lifeblood. If you bake or cook, for that matter, you should always take notes. Right there's this pumpkin pie recipe. And write it so you know how it goes, and then explain it to whoever you're going to pass your recipes on to. But if you write it down, like I know when I get done here, since I know it'll take 30 minutes with the aluminum pan, but the Pyrex pan may differ. So if it does differ, I'll write it down here. Glass pie pan takes X amount of minutes. That way I know. All right. When I come back, we will check out those lovely pies. But I wanted to tell you that. Separation, type of pan matters. Those were the two big keys. All right? Oh, and always use a pan underneath. All right? I'll see you here in just a moment. All right, guys. Here we are. The pies just came out of the oven. So like I was just talking about how they can take different times. this pie here on the left took 30 minutes. But this pie here on the right in the glass Pyrex, I don't know if you can see the difference in size, but see how the Pyrex is taller than the standard aluminum foil or aluminum pie pan. So it's deeper and it is a little bigger in size. So it took a little longer. It actually took 50 minutes for it to get done. And so I'll write that in my book with my pie recipe. If I use a large glass pie pan, it takes 50 minutes, but normally 15 minutes and then 30 minutes. All right, I'm going to let these cool, and when I come back, we will give them a taste, see how it tastes. Well, we'll try one of them, not both of them, because the other one's for Josh. All right, we'll see you here in just a second. Guys, so the pie's cooled. It's sat here for a couple hours, actually. Oh, maybe about an hour and a half. Cool down to room temperature. It just makes it easier to work that way. And you want your pies to cool down. Any of your pies. Very rarely do you have a pie unless it's like a pot pie, with meat in it. You want to let them completely cool, usually on a rack. But we went and ate dinner. And now we're about to have dessert. So, and I get the first piece because I'm getting ready to cut it to show you guys. So we'll see how it turned out. All right, so we get a piece cut. I somehow managed to lose. Well, I know that somehow is actually a 7-year-old named Abby who I think stole my pie thing to my pie scoop to get it out of here. And I'm going to have a large piece because I like pumpkin pie. And we're going to see how easy this is to get out of here because I've never used this pie pan before. This is the glass one, the Pyrex. And we'll see how it did it stick or anything like that. Nope, didn't stick. We're in good shape. That was actually really easy to get out compared. So let's take a look at it. There we are. Wonderful pumpkin pie. I don't know why it's getting so bright, but it did. The light didn't change in here at all. That's all right. So now we're going to see how it tastes. I imagine since I tasted it before we baked it to see how we were doing with it, it would turn out fine. And I know you're probably thinking to yourself, geez, Brian, that's an awfully big piece of pie. It is. But it's okay. Sometimes you just got to live on the edge and take one for the team, right? So let's see how she tastes. That is ridiculously creamy and amazingly good. And once again, the crust did not let me down. I'm telling you, you guys have to try this crust. It is amazing. The pie itself, fantastic. I highly recommend you try this pie. I mean, really. It's really easy to make. If you're not experienced at making pies, this would be a good pie to start with. The recipe's easy. It's basics. And you turn out an amazing pie. And that way you can impress your family and friends. All right. I am going to go have dessert with my family because we just got done eating. And I will see you tomorrow for... or no. Actually, I will see you tomorrow. I got a surprise for you guys. It'll be awesome. Me and Abby are going to cook together, and we're going to make something special. All right? Well, I love you guys. Tell somebody else you love them. Make their day a little better. And I'm going to go have dessert. All right? Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.